The Valera family name was first recorded in its Latinate form in 509 BC when Publius Valerius was elected consul in the first year of the Roman Republic. For almost 1,000 years, the Valerians were one of the most notable patrician families in Rome. 8 Roman emperors bore the name Valerius. The Valerius name evolved into the Spanish form Valera around the year 1000 in Aragon, Spain. From Aragon, Valeras spread throughout southern Europe, most notably to the island of Sicily. Today we pay tribute to the most notable of all the Valeras, the patriarch of the family, Charles F. Valera. He is the most interesting man in the world. Always maintaining his royal bearing, he has a most engaging, dapper appearance. He's exuberant, friendly, happy, studious. He is as comfortable in formal attire as he is in a hoodie. He is known for his athletic prowess, a track star in high school. Today he keeps his svelte figure by biking. He is a sportsman, an avid hiker, and an expert card player. As a youth, he was an equestrian. He had to give up riding in the 60s when his horse was stolen. Whoa, wait a minute, bring that picture back. Check out that porn stash. Moving on. After his first taste of the sea during his stint in the Navy, Charlie could never get sailing out of his blood. He is a celebrated cook and an adventurous gourmet. Here is Charles giving musical instructions to his brother. Throughout his life, Charlie has been an animal lover. He is an amateur ornithologist, a hobby that has taken him on adventures throughout the world. To the tropics, to the desert, in a determined search for the fountain of youth. It was inevitable that a man of his character would move into politics. First, it was his election to the school committee. Then rising through party ranks until he had to refuse Michael Dukakis's offer to become his running mate in the 1988 campaign. His diplomatic work often forced him into uncomfortable situations, such as the time he had to strip off his shirt so that he could negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Soon he grew to enjoy the shirtless look. He stripped off his shirt at every family event. Always the trendsetter, others soon joined him in the look. His family was indulgent to this foible until things got out of hand. Today we honor Charlie Valera, the family man. And a great friend. Before we explore what shaped the character of the most interesting man in the world, here's a word from our sponsor.
Be happy, go lucky, be happy, go lucky, strike, be happy, go lucky.
lucky strike today.
Lucky Strike presents
Charlie's mother and father were married on May 30th, 1934, in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. They were both first-generation Americans, born in this country to Italians who immigrated to America in the great wave of immigration at the beginning of the 20th century. Lucy Russo's parents came from a small town, Ruvo del Monte, in the hills of south-central Italy. She met her husband, Philip Valera, among the hundreds of immigrants from the town of Pietraperzia, Sicily, who had settled in Fitchburg. Mid-century Fitchburg was a bustling, vital, and growing industrial city. Many ethnic peoples, Irish, French Canadians, Polish, Italians, and New England Yankees, strive to make a living in the booming industry of this town by the Nashua River. A little over a year after the Valeras were married, a brief, inconspicuous announcement appeared in the Fitchburg Sentinel. A baby boy was born to Mr. and Mrs. Philip A. Valera on July 12th. Charles Frank Valera entered the world at 7 pounds 14 ounces after a very long labor that began on the morning of the 11th and lasted through the night until the morning of the 12th. Lucy was rewarded with a cherubic, curly-haired boy. Four years later, on November 11th, 1939, the little Valera family grew a bit larger with a second baby boy, John. The 1940 census shows the Valeras living on the second floor of a house owned by Settimo Ingadella on 88 Granite Street, right at the base of Lighthouse Hill. The house was comfortable and in a nicer neighborhood, but old man Ingadella was a harsh man who could not stand any noise or children playing in his yard. He was so cheap that he would not let his wife buy soap to do household chores. He was likely not very tolerant of the financially challenged Valeras who often struggled to pay rent on time. Lucy's sister Catherine invited the Valeras to move nearby to her newly purchased 3-decker house. This empty lot is the only surviving monument to Charlie's childhood home. Their father and mother, Giovanni and Maria Russo, lived on the first floor. Catherine and her husband, Tom Bica, lived on the second floor with their 2 kids, Joe and John. Lucy, Phil, Charlie, and Johnny Valera would live in a tiny apartment on the 3rd floor. Soon the apartment grew even smaller as another baby, this time a girl, joined the family. Rose Mary was born on May 7th, 1941. Here's Charlie and Johnny at Whalum Park. There was little need to go to an amusement park for recreation in the 40s. There were fantastic opportunities for recreation right in the neighborhood. There were the flats, where you could play at the P.J. Keating concrete plant. You could even drive a cement truck for free. There was a football field, a scenic river, the majestic 5th Street Bridge, and of course, the trains. Charlie Valera was a good kid, kept out of trouble mostly. He stayed close to the church. where he sold papers every Sunday morning on the front steps. He also managed a side business where he recycled used cigarettes into perfectly hand-rolled cigarettes and sold them to the paper boys and neighborhood kids. He attended Hosmer School, an easy walk up the hill, then B.F. Brown Junior High, then moving on. He graduated from Fitchburg High, where he was well liked, but he was not deemed to be college material. He joined the Navy right out of high school, but we do not have any photos of him in uniform. We do know that he spent his 18th birthday in Naval Training Camp with no cake or celebrations. He later attended Navy Electronics School and served on the USS Cabot. After the Navy, he met his future wife, Sandra Rundlin of Fitchburg. But how did he meet this Nordic beauty in a city of Southern Europeans and Yankees? Sandy grew up only a few houses away from 28 Walnut Street, where she was just one of the kids in Charlie's neighborhood. Charlie developed a deepening interest in her when he rediscovered her at a dance in the mid-50s. They were married on May 18th, 1957. It was an idyllic time. Honeymoon, a humble apartment, trips to the beach. Always seeking to improve his lot, Charlie went back to school to be a machinist. He finally settled at Foster Grant's in Leominster to ply his newfound skills, working 60 hours a week as a machinist. By 1959, Sandy and Charlie began to be concerned that parenthood might not be in the cards for them. But then, 1960, more feet or footprints. September 12th, 1960, at 9 pounds, 5 ounces, Lauren Valera was born. First-time daddy, first-time parents, doting grandmother, grandparents and uncle. Young new family is underway. 1 year later, September 21st, 1961, it's more feet. It's a boy. 7 pounds, 14 ounces, Richard Valera joins the family. With 3 small kids at home and a 62-hour work week at Foster Grants, Charlie decided that this would be the best time to go to college. He attends night school and takes full-time summer courses at Fitchburg State College. He gets his Associate of Science degree in '68. Before even finishing his bachelor's degree in 1970, he's hired at the Leominster Trade High School. With all his experience and training in industrial engineering, he begins teaching English, math, and science at a significant cut in pay. He earns his first master's degree in 1972. Everyone is there to celebrate with him. Some are there for the free food. He then is promoted to principal and assistant director of Neshoba Valley Technical School. It was about that time that the assistant principal from Charlie's days at Fitchburg High School, the one who meted out the discipline, Stephen T. Woodbury, ran into Sandy at the dentist. She was wearing her name tag, so Woodbury asked if she was a relation. "How's he doing?" Woodbury inquired. Sandy replied, "He's a high school principal." Woodbury gasped. "And how's his brother John?" "He's the new postmaster of Gloucester." Woodbury never recovered. His next position was superintendent and principal of Bay Path Regional Vocational School. He eventually earned a PhD from Ashcroft University in London, the first person in our family to earn the highest academic degree. He has received many awards and honors as an educator and administrator, but through it all there have been many milestones in his family life. Graduations, weddings, and grandchildren. On July 14th, 1999, his beloved Sandy succumbed to a long struggle with cancer after 42 years of marriage. It was a very dark time for Charlie. And now these important messages.
Preparation H, trusted by millions to often help relieve the hemorrhoidal symptoms of itching, burning, and painful irritation for hours. Trust doctor-recommended Preparation H.
We call it tired blood. To feel stronger fast, take Geritol, the fast-acting tonic that begins to strengthen iron-poor tired blood.
What's the matter, Gertie? Your denture's slipping up. When you wear dentures, there's nothing funny about loose spots.
Let Fix-It-Dent help fix your loose spot.
Finally, he met his new companion for his golden years. Dorothy Vaca came into his life and everyone had reason to celebrate again. They were married with the joy and support of family and friends surrounding them. Charlie worked hard all his life and raised 3 children who are raising children of their own. But then, a miracle of biblical proportions. A new child and a brand new family. Mary Rose Klein, Dottie's niece, joined their household and will be with them until she goes out on her own. Charlie is still pursuing his adventures. traveling with Dottie. And sometimes with Mary Rose as well. His greatest joy is to be loved and surrounded by his wonderful family.
I pray you'll be alright and watch us where we go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
La luce che tu dai
I pray we'll find your
nel
light
cuore resterà
and hold it in our heart.
a ricordarci che
When stars go out each night,
l'eterna stella sei nella mia preghiera.
let this be our prayer.
Quanta fede
When
c'è
shadows fill our day, need to find a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be saved.
e la fede che hai acceso in noi. Sento che ci
Petria Perzia, Sicily, who had settled in Fitchburg. I did miss that up, didn't I? Pietra Perzia. Pietra Perzia. 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 Pietra Perzia. Is any of that right?